What's going on, guys, and welcome to March's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month, we talk about them. My name's Seth, and joining me today in the room is Sarah to my left, to your right, and we got Chevy up in the box right above me. Hopefully, you guys are doing good, and hopefully, you guys are excited to talk about the games we played. I'm actually more excited than typical for the games that we played this month because I feel like I got a lot to say on all of them, and I assume you guys probably will too. So it's been an interesting month. In case you guys don't know, those games were Ghostrunner, Ark Survival Evolved, Team Sonic Racing, and Ghost of Tsushima Legends. And to be clear, Legends is the multiplayer component. It's not the single player, so we're not reviewing Ghost of Tsushima. We're reviewing Ghost of Tsushima Legends. And then a quick reminder that our game of the month is Humankind. Hopefully you guys had a chance to play that, look into it, or possibly think about playing it, and come back later this week, probably midweek. We will be putting out Game of the Month, discussing our thoughts on Humankind, and then picking a new Game of the Month, which I think will be a random pick. I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea.
Or is it? We'll figure it out. There will be a Game of the Month picked by then, so make sure to come back as well for that. And we don't know what the PlayStation Plus games are for April yet. There's speculation, but the speculation is almost always incorrect, so I'm not even going to play around with it. So we will find out when we find out, and it should be soon because it's getting close already. All right, so let's jump into what we played. Let's start with, I feel like a really easy one to talk about real quick would be Team Sonic Racing. So yeah, if you didn't get a chance to play Team Sonic Racing, it is a kart racer similar to Mario Kart, in which you play as characters from the Sonic franchise. You drive around on a lot of tracks. It has a team emphasis of working with the team, which is kind of differentiates it from a lot of kart racers. It's nothing new or revolutionary, but it is something that does give it a distinct feeling. You can kind of exchange items between each other. You can kind of drive on other team members' slipstreams to be able to boost behind them. And it has a wide roster of characters, tracks, and it looks like Sonic. Even though the guy who plays Sonic, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. It didn't sound like Sonic at all. It's very bizarre. We all played it. And let's start with Chevy. What are your impressions of Team Sonic Racing in March?
So, I mean, really, the first thing I think I want to say about it is that I expected pretty much nothing from this game. It was pretty much okay, well, we'll just try it and see how it goes. And I'm actually happy to say that it was better than I really expected. Obviously, that I didn't really have much to put into it.
The sad thing about Sonic is like the bar is always so low that like if it's even acceptable, you're like, oh, okay, they tried.
Well, and kart racers in general, I mean, like it seems like such an easy cash grab for some people because they can just go, oh, well, people are going to associate it with Mario Kart, and so they'll make a buck off it real quick off some people. So, and this is kind of like that, I suppose, but it does feel like they put some thought into it, which I like. You kind of brought up earlier. The team focus, I actually think is a kind of a neat idea, especially with like whatever teammates in first place does put down that boost slipstream behind them, that if you drive perfectly behind them, you can slingshot off them, and it allows you to actually like try to work together, especially like item swapping is another cool feature. Like if you one thing in like Mario Kart is if you drive behind someone too closely, you don't get the item because it hasn't respawned yet. And in this, if someone's up front and let's say they got a boost item, they feel comfortable, and someone back to get an item, they can be like hit a button to ask for an item. You can just toss it back to them and give them a boost instead. Mm-hmm. So, and that goes towards your progress as a unit because that's how you're scored at the end of the race. So, I think stuff like that's really neat. I also think it'd be a fun like game to play in voice chat. As long as all three people had a bit of an understanding about the game. But I think my only big complaints, and I say big, they're pretty small complaints to be honest. I think the items are a little boring. I don't mean necessarily in effect, but excuse me. But in appearance, they're really like plain.
Mm-hmm.
It's like rockets and multicolor versions of the same items and stuff like that. It's they could have put a little more thought into that, I think. And
Yeah,
then
no, I agree with that
the
for
drive,
sure.
yeah, and the driving itself is a little weird feeling. It's not like game breaking, but I feel like it could be a little tighter.
Yeah, it's kind of
And not
stiff.
that it needs to be a sim racer.
It's
Yeah,
not like tight is a good way to put it. It feels kind of loose, but also like it almost feels like every fucking cart's a boat. They have a weird feeling to them that feels kind of wide as you move along the track. That when you go on like tighter corners, you can slide, but it just doesn't feel as good as the kart racers that do it right, which is Mario Kart and Diddy Kong
yeah.
back in the day.
Wow, and it's kind of bad timing for them because I think Mario Kart released their DLC thing that adds a bunch of old school tracks this month. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, I had a pretty good time. I don't know if I'd like, just play it, on my own volition, like so much, just because, and not because it's a bad game, but just because it still doesn't like stand out a whole lot. But if someone brought it up, I'd have positive things to say about it, or even possibly still play it. So
Yeah, I regret that when I played it this month, I didn't play it with people. Because when I played it, I'm like, oh, this is like a multiplayer game, not just like car races where you typically just race other people, but like you can play on teams, which is kind of neat. So it would have been cool to explore that more. But I pretty much got the gist of it, but I didn't get to realize the potential of it with AI. Teammates, even though they are pretty responsive, it's mostly just like,
they
hey,
are,
give me your item. They're like, here it is. And I'm like, thanks.
if they have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Also
And
good about driving in front of you to give you the slipstream. So
yeah, and I really like the emphasis on all the talking that's happening too. So it kind of gives you a lot of info that's happening on the there. This game's not just like it doesn't feel like just a cash grab. Like it's obvious it's like brand Sonic, so you can sell it still somehow. It's a kart racer. People know exactly what they're getting into, so it makes sense. But so in that regard, you'd be like, well, that's a cash grab. But it feels like they wanted to make a fun game at least, and they put some work into some things. So
right.
yeah. Anything else you have to say on that?
Nope.
All right, I'll jump in next. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think this game was a lot more fun than I thought it'd be. It's not fun enough for me to go like, holy shit, I need to go back and play that. But it's nice because this is a game I would have never played. I would have never played this game ever. But I got on PlayStation Plus, got to play it, and got to go, hey, this isn't bad. I think the tracks are cool. They're imaginative. There's a lot of cool obstacles and hurdles that happen on the tracks. The three types of carts is pretty standard. But you got like a fast one, a mobile one that can move easily or better, and then like just a strong one essentially. And that's cool. I'm glad they have a system like that. I do agree about the items. The items, it took me a while to like learn what they were because just by looking at them, I couldn't tell what the fuck they were. And then when you use them, I wasn't remembering what they were either. So they don't have like a distinct visual style. If there's something they could do in a second one, it would be focus on that a bit more, give it an identity, because it was just like these vague pictures and boxes. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. And I fire off. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it is. So yeah, that's one. It's not even a complaint. It's just like you could have done better for sure. The amount of voice acting was surprising to me. I think they put a lot of work into that, which is cool. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying like there's a lot of communications happening. I think it's cool. It has a campaign mode, even though it's shit. I didn't like it at all, but I wouldn't even say I didn't like it. I didn't care about it. And the voice acting was off-putting because all the quintessential voice types you have for all these characters that are so well known, these all sound like people they just found off the street. And they're like, have you heard of Sonic? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, you want to be him? And they're like, okay. And they came in, they're like, oh, I'm Sonic. And I'm like, that's not Sonic. I don't know who the fuck this is. Knuckles sounded weird. Tails sounded kind of close to what you would assume Tails to sound like. But regardless, it was kind of cool that it had a campaign. In a game like this, I just expect a race, and that's about it. And that's what you do. But, for anybody who's like a Sonic fan, you get something from it, which is cool. And yeah, as a kart racer though, it's completely competent. I've played some like weird offshoot kart racers that like don't have a brand identity that, you know, are always kind of passable, oddly enough, because they have like such a strong foundation they can build off of that's already been established. But this is definitely better than those. It's not as good as Mario Kart, but it's also not bad. It's like Crash Team Racing. Why I actually like Crash Team Racing, but it's almost as good as that. So they did a pretty good job. And yeah, I think the team emphasis is neat. I wish I could have explored that more with people. I'd say we could do that after the show at some point, but I've already uninstalled it. Not because I'm like, fuck this game, but I'm like, realistically, there's so many games I really want to play right now. This is not going to make it in my top 10. So top 20, top 30. So I just...
Definitely a busy time right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've just freed myself from Elden Ring. So I'm trying to play Ghostwire Tokyo and Stranger of Paradise right now. And those are both... Well, Ghostwire Tokyo, I'm like halfway through already. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, it's better than I thought it'd be. And that's quite the compliment because I thought it was going to be shit. So I would definitely recommend it. Well, we'll get into that. I was naturally going to say, like, I'd recommend it to somebody who likes car racers, but expect that when we get into recommendations. Yeah, it's fun. Sarah. I see you got no notes here, dude. So you got nothing to say about this shit.
Nothing to say.
Fuck this
No,
game.
I, no one said anything that I disagree with yet. I don't know how much more I have to add. I liked it. I also wasn't expecting much from it. I enjoyed that right off the bat you could customize, a little bit rather than having to unlock everything. I appreciated that. I did appreciate the teamwork aspect. It made me slightly more interested in playing the game, even though I didn't have a chance to really do any multiplayer, but I definitely can see the potential there for being able to strategize and work together. And I thought that was really interesting. And even playing with like the NPCs, I found myself trying to, as best as I could, like work with my team. Because it actually matters whether you win the race. Like even if you get first, if your teammates are both in last place, you're not going to win.
That is an interesting factor of the game. Is like, because it is your team versus their team, it kind of tallies up who all got the highest in the race. Yeah. And even if you came in like fourth or whatever, somebody on your team was in first, your whole team can still win, which I think is kind of a neat factor. Because these games are always like, oh, I'm gonna win. I'm in first, and then you just get bombed, and then you're fucked, and you can't win. Now it's not just on you; it's on everybody else. So
yeah,
it's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, I think it's adds an interesting element to the gameplay versus just being another kart racer. Kind of like you guys already said, but I feel kind of compelled to play this with people, but also I don't really care that much either, to continue to play it after this month, because I just don't really feel like it did much else.
Yeah. Anything else?
I felt like a little bit of like lag going through the menus. I don't know if that was just me, but that was a little bit irritating.
It's possible. I don't remember that, but I just don't remember the menu interface or anything. So it's been a while. I played this right in the beginning of the month.
Same.
That was actually
remembering.
The only note I wrote for this.
No, that's good. I mean, that was one problem I had with Predator Hunting Grounds. Is the menu was atrocious to go through because all of the just like millisecond lag all added to this like sluggish experience that was like really annoying, especially when you're customizing your character. It was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, that's what. Although there right off the bat wasn't a lot of options in Sonic, so you know, it wasn't to the level of like not wanting to do this, but it was definitely like, why am I even bothering with this if it's going to take me 3 times as long, just because it's taking that long for everything to kind of catch up.
Well, that's always an interesting factor. I assume all 3 of us are all on PS5 for all these games. It's an interesting factor that we're on PS5s and we're running into that as well. So that's obviously an optimization issue, and that's also I would assume a PS4 version of the game that has not been optimized for PS5, because tech-wise, there's no excuse for a game like that to have issues like that.
Right, like just changing the color of your vehicle.
Yeah.
So
they could have.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the first time a PS4 game ran funny on PS5 either. So
yeah. Anything else you got? Mm-mm. All right, let's jump into recommendations. I already kind of hopped in that already, but I'm gonna recommend this to anybody who is into kart racers. I think it's a pretty confident and competent kart racer. So if you are a big fan of Mario Kart and you liked Diddy Kong Racing back in the day, and Crash Team Racing is a game you enjoy, or maybe you haven't checked that out, go check that one out too. Those are some of the most competent ones I can think of. Let me know if you know one in the comments below that I haven't mentioned. I would recommend this to you for sure. It's no slouch. It's not as good, it's not as established, but they are trying to make a fun game with this, and I think they did it, so I would recommend it to you. Also, if you like racing games, lightly, whatever ones you're into. If you're into sim racers, this ain't for you. But if you're into arcade racers, this is technically like an arcade racer, just with weapons and team mechanics. So I'd recommend it to you. If you're a fan of Sonic, but not particularly Sonic games like the traditional versions, but the brand Sonic, this is kind of a must play, I feel like. Just because, if you're a big fan of all the games, you probably want to play them all. There's way worse ones. So I would recommend this. And then lastly, I would throw out there, if you like team-oriented games where you work with people, not just play with other people, but you actually can work together to accomplish things. It's not like super heavy on that, but it's not like you're running like a raid in a game or something with your friends. You got to really coordinate, but like there is discussions to be had in the gameplay that can benefit you, that you can work with each other on. And I always appreciate that in a game that actually has like actual work together co-op, and not just like, they can play with you if you want. Like, it's more fun with more people. If the idea of playing like a Mario Kart with people on your team working together versus another team, definitely check this out, because there's not a whole lot of them out there. I'll throw the ball in the air. Somebody else can take it if they have other recommendations. Unless I nailed them all, because I'm good.
I would recommend this game to maybe really anybody who kind of maybe wants to play something with their friends, even if you don't normally play like a lot of video games. I think it is accessible enough that you could like just jump in and play.
It's casual friendly.
Yeah. I also think, when you were talking, I kind of thought like it might be something fun, like if you have a group of friends that you play more serious co-op games with, like your raid group or whatever.
Fortnite.
I think that there's enough, teamwork aspects in this game that it would be maybe like a more fun, like casual, like kind of party game for a group of people like that.
Yeah. I would recommend it to people who like party games, but I would do the same with any kart racer. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Chev, you got anything?
Honestly, I think Sarah kind of said the magic word there, which is accessibility.
Yeah.
I honestly think anyone can pick up this game and find some enjoyment into it, unless you're just a one genre type of person. But I would just say if you have PlayStation Plus, and you at the very least added it to your library, you should try it. It is it's worth at least a moment to see if it's your type of game or not. So
especially if you like kart racers and you think this is gonna suck, I would definitely tell you check it out.
Yeah,
it's not gonna blow you away, but it's better than you think it is. So
that's not enough.
Just gonna put that out there.
Go see the new Sonic movie with your friends. Come home, play this game.
Make a day of it.
Yeah.
All right, Paramount, pay me. That was an advertisement. All right. Anything else recommendation wise? All right, I'll grade it first. I'm going to give it a very, 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 very strong B. I kind of wanted to give it a B plus, but I think it's a little strong. I don't think it's like excels at anything really, but I'm just happy that it's a solid game and I had fun with it. So I think B is a good grade for that. And let's go with Chevy. What would you grade it?
Also going to go with a B because of similar reasons. I think it is a little better than average. So that's why I'm not giving it a C. In fact, I did find some fun in it. But it has plenty of room to grow as well. I think it's pretty bare bones. So
Yeah, it could be
but a
better
good
for
starting
sure.
point for sure.
Yeah. Sarah.
I agree. I would give it a B. I think if I had maybe put some time into the multiplayer and had a lot of fun with it, I would even touch on like a B plus. But yeah, I think the game is pretty solid. B.
All right. Well, that's 3 Bs. That's pretty good for a Sonic game. Unless you guys have anything else to say. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of Team Sonic Racing. I already forgot the name of it. Did you play it? Did you not play it? If you didn't play it, why didn't you play it? If you did play it, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And what would you like to see from a Team Sonic Racing 2 if you did enjoy it enough, or even have a critique of it? And what was your favorite feature of it? Do you like the team play aspect of it, or would you rather it be more traditional, where I think you can just play like that anyway if you just play the arcade racing mode? And yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to Team Sonic Racing. Second game, we got 4 games to talk about. So second game we played this month was Ghostrunner. If you didn't get a chance to play Ghostrunner is a first-person cyberpunk run and gun action game. I wouldn't call it a first-person shooter, even though it kind of has that going on. And I would lean it pretty close to a game similar to Hotline Miami. If you're not aware of what that is, it's a game where you have a room you have to complete, and if you get hit, you die. So you got to go through it as quick as you can, and it almost builds a muscle memory of like these like fast-paced kinetic puzzles that you have to solve quickly. That's exactly what Ghostrunner is. It's first person. You can run on walls. You can double jump. You can use grappling hooks. But there's people positioned throughout the map. They try and kill you. You try and get through the map as efficiently and quick as possible because the game doesn't give you a lot of time to, think about the situation. And that's pretty much what it is. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint what this is. It's a first-person Hotline Miami.
Kind of platformy.
Yeah. We all played it. Chevy went first last time, right? All right, so let's go with Sarah this time. What were your impressions? I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about this. What were your impressions of Ghostrunner?
I really liked the visual style of Ghostrunner. I think the concept is really cool. I liked the sort of like robot samurai thing that you got going on. It's a really pretty, really like fast-paced game. I really wanted to enjoy playing it, but I did not at all. I found the controls to be really like unintuitive. And then, I kind of went in and played with those controls a little bit. And there's a ton of controller layouts. And maybe if I had spent more time trying to figure that out, I could have found something that maybe worked better for me. But I think ultimately my takeaway from that was that I just really do not enjoy playing a game like this on a controller. I was almost convinced to buy it on PC just so I could kind of feel like I could really give the game a chance to see if I did like it, because I did like the concept so much and like the style and kind of the idea behind it. I like platformers. It kind of has like a Ratchet and Clank platformy vibe, but also, kind of the level replayability that I enjoy in a game like Crash Bandicoot.
Mm-hmm.
But then has the cyberpunk like samurai thing going on. So I really wanted to like it. I would say that even I do like it, but playing it was extremely frustrating for me. Yeah.
That's fair. I'll go next. No, let's go Chevy.
Okay. I actually share some of those sentiments. I think it's a very good looking game, and I think it runs smooth enough, but I do think the controls feel a little weird, as well. That was an immediate thought I had while playing it. I felt like I was doing a lot in a small amount of space, just to be able to play it. I also, when Seth was compared to Hotline Miami, I thought that was a pretty good comparison. I was thinking like super hot, but on in hyper mode. But yeah,
Sure.
same type of deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I just played a lot of Hotline Miami back in the day, and I'm like, this is just first-person Hotline Miami, dude. Because in that game, you kick a door, and everybody starts trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And you got to kill them quicker than they kill you, and you die, and you're like, fuck, and you just keep redoing it. Same thing here.
Yeah. And effectively, it is just a puzzle game, really.
Yeah.
And
It's a reaction
I think
puzzle game.
I think this game has just a lot of things about it that just are not my style at all. I don't like the control layout. I don't like the puzzle solving stuff. And I don't think these are faults in the game. I just don't think I'm the audience for them in it. I think outside of my personal gripes with it, it was fine. Like I don't have any major complaints outside of the controls. I just think that yeah, I mean, I already said it. It's not really my style of game. Because I love everything like visually about it. I think it's got the cool factor. I think similar to like the games we mentioned, or even like Mirror's Edge, it's got like a really neat system of being able to just kind of bounce around, quickly take out enemies or be taken out type of deal.
Well, in the system where you can slow down time and dodge bullets is a neat thing. It takes a little bit to get used to, especially on the controller. Yes. But it does feel good when you execute. Like you go through a room and you do it flawlessly and you just dodge every bullet and you take every dude out. Like that's the game at its prime. Like that's when you're like, okay, I get this, but
I wouldn't know how that feels.
But there's a certain barrier that the controller gives you that you can overcome, but the average person I don't think is gonna very much. Yeah. That makes it not feel that great.
For sure. And I mean, that game doesn't provide me that dopamine feeling that I think it will for some people. For me, I'm just like, finally, it's over. That's what it comes down to. So, overall, I mean, it's fine, but I won't play it again. So,
fair. Okay, so as somebody who actually played this on PC before I played it on console. I saw even then that this was a niche game that somebody looking at it might just go, oh, it's a first-person shooter. I'm like, you think that? But on a technical level, I guess you can make an argument for that. But it is really a fast-paced puzzle game pretty much. That is a neat idea, but games like this are always kind of like one-and-dones for me. Kind of like I hop in, I'm like, that was a cool experience. That was a cool indie experience. I can support it on that level. And that's about as far as I go with these kind of games typically. I do think it is cruel to make people play this on a controller, though. This game is not meant for a controller. Just like Quake is not meant for a controller. Certain games just do not work on controller well. Now, you can play this game on controller, and I was able to do it. I started overcoming some of the over-aiming that I was doing a lot early on because I think the aiming in this game feels horrendous on a fucking controller. Not compared to just PC, but other games on controller. As a first-person controlled game, I don't think it controls well compared to other ones. This game just does not feel good on a controller. Now, if this is the only way you can play this game, more power to you, especially if you played through it and you're really good at it and you beat it. That's awesome. The average person's not going to be able to enjoy this the same way they would on a mouse and keyboard, most likely, I feel. And so I'm joking when I say it's cruel, but also I'm like, this game isn't the best thing ever, but it's pretty solid. And on a controller, that adds an extra barrier for people to have to get through to even understand if they like this game or not. Because you can look at it and you go, the graphics are flashy and shiny and detailed. The music's cool. It's got that fucking like cyberpunk sound. It is cyberpunk looking, a lot of neon lights. It's got everything that if you're like, hey, what's a cool looking game? Oh, a cyberpunk game with some really cool driving beats and digital sounds and stuff. Like, that's cool. They nailed that. And the gameplay as a concept is cool, but like I said, for my interest of it, I feel like you're either going to be really into this game or you're not going to be into it, because it is such a specific idea. Outside of all that, though, I do think the game's controls are pretty good outside of the aiming aspect of it. I think they work pretty good. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I really had to adapt and get better at looking around in a fast way, especially running on walls, jumping to other walls, which is so much easier to do with a mouse and keyboard than a controller. And for anybody who's new here, I am very comfortable playing first-person shooters on controller. This is not new for me, so I'm not coming from I don't really play controller games. So yeah, with that cleared up, it's a lot. You got to get used to it. I was getting to the point where I was flicking the stick to look quickly. I wasn't able to fine tune aim a lot of times. But I did it. And it's interesting too because I touched on the dopamine thing. You clear a room efficiently after you've died 30 times there. And it feels good. You're like, whoo, I think I got this. I think I'm on it. I think this is what this game's supposed to be. Then you get to the next room and you just get murdered over and over again. And you're like, oh shit. I got the controls down, but every room is a fucking new puzzle. It's a new challenge. It's a new thing you have to learn and repeat. And so those dopamine hits come rarely and they get taken from you quick. So it's not the same as playing, I keep talking about Elden Ring because it's the game right now, but it's not like Elden Ring where you're working towards getting on top of Everest and then you get on Everest and you're like, fuck yeah. And then you get to just keep climbing after that. And you get to the next peak, you're like, fuck yeah. And you just are always moving up, feeling better and better and better. This game's that felt good, huh? Well, fuck you. Okay. Thanks. Did that feel good? Yeah, kind of. You're going to take it away? Yeah.
You just ran out of oxygen.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting, emotional experience to go through. Lastly, two more things. As somebody who does jumping around FPS, a lot of running and gunning, all that kind of stuff. I do like the feeling when the feeling's there of sliding around, slicing people up, dodging bullets. But it's not enough for me gameplay wise to get really excited about. I wasn't bored when I was doing this, but I wasn't loving it either. And then the last thing, although they do get creative with essentially the rooms. Each room feels like it's a puzzle, and or like in Hotline Miami, every level is just a building you have to run through and kill everybody in. So every room feels like an appropriate puzzle they got to figure out, and a lot of the more Mirror's Edge parkour sections are pretty cool. Outside of there are some glitchy things that happen to me that I'm not going to make excuses for. It could have been done better. Actually, in the footage you're watching, there might be a part where I jumped, hit a ledge, my guy went to climb it, and then he stopped and then fell through, and I fell to a part of the map that doesn't go anywhere, but I didn't die either, so I had to just kill myself, which was stupid. And then the last thing, as the game progresses a little further in the beginning, I feel like probably a lot of people only play the beginning of this and then bailed. The story does get kind of interesting. I mean, I get kind of bored of the dialogue's cool, but the suit's voice from Crysis talking to you in this is it's kind of monotone and annoying. But there's some cool story that they build as you play this game. I assume this game's pretty short. I didn't beat it, but I was enjoying that more than the gameplay almost. And then you do start unlocking abilities and perks that make you better in these situations. And I only explored that a little bit. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm glad that there's stuff to work towards. It's not just get through the levels. There's things you unlock to give you the edge on these situations. So I'm glad it has a sense of progress, but just not compelling enough for me. So yeah, it's a fun game. And I'm going to recommend right now, play on PC if you can, because that's where this game was meant to be played. Yeah, we got everybody. Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you saying that it was cruel to make us play this on controller.
I like your note that says cruel with a smiley face.
Because I feel like somebody was doing something to me. I started to get physically angry playing this game, trying to play on a controller. So Thanks for acknowledging my struggle.
Yeah. As somebody who was
So-
like feeling like I was enjoying it a little bit more than a lot of people, I'm like, a lot of people are not gonna fucking. This is gonna feel unfair to them.
Yeah, it was. It was one of those things where I was like, I have to buy this on PC now so that I know that I'm like not terrible at playing games.
Yeah,
Because I had such a like almost negative experience like playing it. I just wanted to like physically throw my controller against the wall.
Yeah, it's a challenging game though. So if anybody had issues with it, like it's not that you suck; it's the game is fucking rough. So
There are some like assist options as well you can turn on.
oh, I didn't see that.
For anybody who wants to like have the experience but is feeling frustrated.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
I normally find out about stuff like that after I've already posted the video, and people on Reddit are like, "You didn't look at this." I'm like, "No, dude, I hopped in, I played it for like 4 hours and left."
Oh yeah, I was looking for help, so I went in the menus
Help,
and I was
need
like,
help.
how can I do this?
Average 9-to-5ers don't have time to play fucking 300 games a month.
Yeah, for sure. I like prioritize a couple, and then I dabble in like 50. So, but yeah, I played it more than I thought I would for sure, because I had played it like I said on PC, and I was like, I get what the game is, but I was really curious about how it would feel on controller, and I was not surprised with how it felt on controller. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. You have anything else to say, Chevy? Anybody else? Bad impressions? All right. Let's jump into recommendations. If you like Hotline Miami, you're going to like this, I think. It's going to have a different kind of feel to the way you control your character, but the concept's similar. Especially if you're looking for something cyberpunk, you're going to dig this. I would loosely recommend it to anybody who likes fast-paced first-person shooters. It is almost that. So check it out. Also, I'm going to loosely recommend it to people who like cyberpunk stuff. If you're not getting enough cyberpunk games, check this out with the caveat that it is a challenging game. So if you're looking for a game that's going to be a cool, fun experience, this is that, but you need to be able to beat the sections that are designed to be difficult. With that being said, if you're somebody who likes Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, if you heard of that game, if you like games that have challenging gameplay that you can feel like you conquered, even if for like 1 second before they take it away from you, I would recommend this to you. But not if you're looking for a Dark Souls experience, just you like the challenge. I want to be clear about that. If you like ninjas and you want like a hardcore ninja experience, you're like a cyber ninja. You're running around, you're slicing people up, you're dodging bullets. If you like think that's dope as shit, and it's pretty cool, you're probably gonna love this. Just again, it's a challenging game, especially on a controller. Play on PC. And then that's my other recommendation. I recommend people play this on PC. So that's what I got. You guys have anything else to add?
I think if you like puzzle games, but also like
Don't send Tetris people into this.
well, also like challenging, like it does remind me like of a first person shooter. So if you like those sort of like difficult experiences, but like solving puzzles, like doing the same level over and over again just to get it right.
Play this.
Play this.
All right. You have anything, Chevy?
No, I mean, I'm just going to reiterate the puzzle solving and then games like, Hotline Miami or Super Hot or whatever. So
Even if you like, again, lightly, all these recommendations mostly are light. Even if you like Mirror's Edge or parkour games, you're going to be doing a lot of running, sliding, running on walls, but you're also getting shot at when you're doing that. So just be ready for that. But if you want that
quite
fast-paced, kinetic, run and gun experience, this is one of your better options, I would say. It's that. So, yeah.
I mean, it even did like remind me of like the feeling I get when I play like a game like Crash Bandicoot, where I'm literally just playing the same level until I can do everything perfectly to get the best time, or like to get all the items, or like whatever. It kind of has that similar like feeling where you just keep doing it over and over again, and eventually you just like
muscle memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Conquered.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Anything else? All right, Chevy, give it a grade.
trying to separate my personal feelings from it. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B minus. I think the game is fine in most regards outside of the controls of it, which is a pretty simple fix in all fairness.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
Yeah. All right, Sarah.
I am going to give the game a B minus as well. I think that I would enjoy it more on a mouse and keyboard, and part of me wants to give it like a little bit of a lower grade because I think the controls were just like not great. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they do give you a lot of freedom in what the controls are. Like there's a lot of controller layouts. I didn't delve too deeply if you could like customize it, but I mean there was at least 6 different controller layout options. So they do give you a little bit of flexibility in helping you find a way to play the game, some assist modes. So I think that does make the game a little bit better. I had a hard time enjoying it, but I see kind of like what the potential there is. And overall, I think I like it. I wish I could have played it more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's hard for me to grade this because overall I think it's a decent game and I think it's a quality made game. Just my experience, my impressions of it on PS5 this month were not as good as I feel like they could have been. So if I'm grading those impressions, I'm also going to go with a B minus. I don't want to give it a C plus. I feel like that's punishing the game. I think it's a solid game, even though very niche. You got to be into this game or not, in my opinion. But the controls didn't bother me. But the way the sensitivity and the sticks felt borderline punishing compared to how this game plays on PC. And I feel like they could have done something to make that better, and maybe they did in the options, but I played the default game they gave me, and my impressions with that is a B minus. So I'm still going pretty high. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's definitely not a preferable way to play, and I will never play this again on console. So I have no interest in that.
Just to note that there is an option specifically that helps with aiming at things that are shooting at you.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't even the aiming aspect. It was mostly in the moment looking at, like I was able to do it. You watch the footage, you'll see that I'm doing it just fine, but it just doesn't feel good. It feels stiff. It feels like there's not a whole lot of smoothness to the looking. It's very rigid. And it feels like it got ported pretty quickly and doesn't seem like they thought a lot about the console experience. So, yeah. Okay, so all B minuses. We're all feeling the same about these games this month, apparently, which is very interesting, but not that surprising to me. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of Ghostrunner. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Or did you play it at all? And if you played it, how long did you play it for? Did you beat it? And yeah, if you liked it, what'd you like about it? What do you think about the controller experience? Do you like it? Did you get used to it? Are you a pro gamer and you never had an issue? Or did you run to hurdles? Maybe you overcame them like me, but still kind of understand they're there. Have you played this on PC? What do you think about my comparison of the two? It's better on PC. Argue with me. That's fine. We can do that. Yeah, what'd you think about Ghostrunner in general? Yeah, let's move on to the next game. Speaking of games that seem like direct ports from PC to console, let's talk about Ark Survival Evolved. If you guys didn't get a chance to play Ark Survival Evolved, it is, in my opinion, probably one of the bigger of the survival games that have been out for a long time, in which you play in a prehistoric sci-fi world where you play as essentially Mi'ug. That's my character's name. Honestly, like I looked on, like, that's a caveman. You play as a caveman, and you essentially go from using like thatch and fiber and wood, moving up to like metals and steel, going from caveman technology to futuristic technology in this world. It has food and water parts of the game where you can become dehydrated, you can get hungry, you can die from these things. Typical survival fare. You run around, you build things, you gather things, you kill, you can tame pretty much everything in the game. It features a wide array of enemy types, mostly a lot of dinosaurs, but even in our short experience, we're running into robot dinosaurs, which I thought was interesting. And you make weapons, you shoot things, you build bases. The game offers, honestly, a lot of shit to do. I'm just going to be real about it. I was pretty impressed with this game coming into it from how long it's been out. I was like, they've added a lot of shit to this. And this version had a lot of the stuff they added later already a part of it. So that was a nice surprise because I was expecting like the base game, but they had like Aberration and a bunch of other of the expansions that came out later that you could buy. So too much content for me to have consumed this month to talk about in great detail, but we all played it. And I guess I'll start first because I haven't done impressions first yet. I'm a big fan of Ark. I think it's a good survival game. In general, I used to play it back in the day on PC a lot, and I really liked it back then. The survival genre has come a long way, and there's a lot of things I think survival games do better now, but Ark has always been just a really good all-around game that offers a lot of shit to do. It's a really content-dense game. But I was reminded this month playing it on how some of the systems have been improved in survival games since this game, and I forgot how atrocious the menus in Ark are. Speaking on the menus, my biggest complaint about this whole game is they did not do a whole lot with making this a console experience. You are navigating menus that were meant for mouse and keyboard with the D-pad, and they're pretty complex. There's a lot of tabs, a lot of individual things you have to move around, and they have a couple shortcuts to make that easier, but it is a clunky experience that if you can only play this game like this on console, you're getting a pretty good game in my opinion. But man, if you can not play with that menu system, you can play it like mouse and keyboard. That'd be the way to play it because it's encumbering to have to navigate so much more with a controller than you would with a mouse and keyboard. So I'll try not to talk about that too much. But I was really impressed for the most part. I ran into a couple issues with how well this game runs. I remember when it originally came out, and I'm playing this on PS5. I think we all played on PS5. I played this originally when it came out on console on the Xbox One. And it looked horrible and it played horrible. And I was like, maybe this game can't be on console. Well, we're in a whole new generation now. And I'm glad to say that it pretty much looks like the PC version. And it plays fairly smooth. So I was happy to see that. You're getting the PC experience here outside of two things. When I was gathering, specifically cutting trees down, there's a very noticeable lag that happens almost every single time. It's like it's registering that this tree is going to be leaving the map. And other things on the map are moving around. And there's a lot of things that are being processed in this moment that bogs the game down. And again, I'm playing this on PS5, so I feel like it should be smooth. And I can replicate that lag often. So that kind of sucks, but it's not game breaking. Also, when you're playing with a friend, there's some lag that happens when you start to separate. There's a tethering thing that's interesting. I'll let you talk about that because I didn't experience it from my end. But when I was running around and it was just teleporting her everywhere, I guess, I was experiencing these lag spikes randomly. Now I get on a console, it's hard to do that kind of networking to be able to host a server while somebody is joining it while you're playing on it. But it's not an enjoyable experience compared to if you had a dedicated server, which you can do on console, and I was glad to see that. Yeah,
you can actually dedicate another console to be a dedicated server as well.
And I have a PS4 around here, so it'd be kind of cool to just set that up as a dedicated server. But I convinced myself almost as soon as I started the game on console that I like Ark. If I want to play Ark, I'm going to go back to PC. So this pretty much served as like a reminder to me that I think Ark is a pretty dope game. I think it still works really well now as a survival game. I think it offers a lot. I think it's a lot of fun to play, but there is a better way to play it, and that's how I would prefer to play it. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm coming from this game as somebody who's like played a lot of it, so I'm trying to touch on all the console impressions that I had on it. Controls felt kind of weird at first, but I got used to them. And when I got used to them, I was enjoying myself. I wasn't even thinking about it. So there's a slight learning curve when it comes to playing this game. But once you get past that, the only things that are holding me back from fully enjoying the game is the hosting that had the lag issues, and then just a couple random things that happened. But outside of that, I mean, it's Ark. It plays fine. It would be better if, you weren't getting teleported all over the place when we were playing, because like I'm just running around doing my thing, and you're just like sitting there going, I don't even know where I'm at, and I'm like, I don't know what she's talking about, and I just keep playing. And then later you're like, I don't know where I'm at, and I'm like, where are you getting lost? And then later you're just like standing next to him, I'm like, what are you doing here? And you're like, it just teleports me to where you're at.
I can't not be here.
Yeah, and apparently it's not like Conan Exiles that has a pretty generous range.
No.
You were saying it was like 15 feet or something.
Yeah, it's comically small in my opinion.
It seemed like it, because it seemed like you're getting teleported all the time. You're like, I don't even know where. You're like, I can't even get my stuff anymore.
When you weren't at the base, I was getting teleported constantly.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the idea. These situations, I always see a positive, but there's an obvious negative. The positive is you can do it. So if you're like playing with like your friend, or this game even has split screen. I didn't try that out, but I thought it was kind of neat that you could play this with a friend on like the same couch. That's really neat. And in that situation and this situation, it makes sense that like if you're playing this game like a hard co-op game, like let's stick together, let's work on the same house, let's go hunt at the same time, let's go fish at the same time. I don't think you're going to run into much issues. But if you're trying to play this like play any survival game where I can go over there and build my own shit, and you can go over here and build your own shit, or you're going to go on a hunting party and I'm going to stay back and work on the base or whatever, that's not possible in this situation. Yeah. And so I see the positives, I see the negatives.
Food while you gather, materials.
Or like, come with me so I can go gather some wood.
It's
like you have to do things together.
I would rather they have this than not at all. But it's not the way you want to play this game, and you can play it not like this. So you'd obviously want to play with more freedom. And again, it has the dedicated server option, so you're not stuck to this. But I think most people are going to play like this, and so just be warned. It's pretty strict on how far you can get away from other people. Also, because I have played this game before, I for my server just boosted XP and everything just to kind of fly through some stuff and check things out.
Same thing.
That's funny. I was like, I'm not gonna play like if I get back into this, I'm not doing it here. So to get a good impression of this on console, I'm just gonna speed up the leveling process. And so I did that, and I lowered like damage on our dinosaurs, all sorts of stuff to make it way easier for me, just to get into as fast as I could to get an impression. And everything felt good. Like the combat felt good on controller. Aiming with the bow felt good. The crossbow I found, that was a lot of fun shooting things. I literally just ran out shooting things for a while. That was because I was like, this feels pretty tight. It feels like I'm playing Call of Duty or something. So they did a good job there. The building feels fucking horrible. Because you do this on PC as well, but with a controller, it just feels like an extra step. You craft the stuff in your inventory, and then you got to move it down to your hotkeys, and then your hotkeys are separated by holding L1 for certain hotkeys, and then not holding L1 to have certain hotkeys available. And so to just put those down in there with a D-pad, and then have to fucking navigate like that, it's not a big deal. I got used to it. But holy shit, building just felt like it was taking way longer than it would have. And I feel the same when I play Minecraft on console. I haven't done that in a long time, but I hate building on a controller unless I have to. If that game only exists on controller, this is my life now. But if I have the option, I don't like doing it there. And I love building in these kind of games. So it's not a knock to the game. It's just not my preference. This is not the way I would want to play this game. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good fun game on console and completely viable. Just I think the menus could have been made for console. They should have made like a console version of the UI. I would have preferred that. This feels like it's just a straight port, and they're like, use the D-pad to navigate through this thing. And with the amount of tabs and stuff, it feels shitty.
And the right stick.
Yeah. It feels like the first ideas they came up with to navigate this were what they stuck with. They didn't think much after that. And then the random lag spikes, I can look past. I've been playing games for a long time. I've ran into lag in a lot of games. As long as it's not unplayable, I'm fine. It could be improved for sure, but and it has graphic options. They're light, but I'm sure they help in some ways. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I did not have Sarah's experience though, so I'll throw the ball to her next on impressions. So you guys get another take on the multiplayer and what you thought of it.
It's funny to listen to like the experience you had, like talking about like the little lag spikes, because I'm just like, myself. Yeah, I'm just like applying that to the experience I had, because like every little lag spike you had was like me being like dragged across the map, or like instantly teleported somewhere new, and like just like a new environment pops up in front of me, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
It's like as soon as you join my server, someone put a leash on you, start yanking you around.
Exactly.
Like,
it was exactly
I want to do this. Nope.
And it was like a combination of like my character actually sliding through the environment, and then also just like suddenly popping into a new place. It was extremely disorienting. There were times where I was like, trying to collect food, or like it was like, oh, you got to go drink water because you're about to die. And then suddenly I'm at the other side of the map with no water around. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is fine. So like situations like that were just kind of unfortunate. So let me backtrack a little bit. I guess I have never played Ark before. I'm really into survival games generally. Ark was one of those games that came out, and then when I was like, oh, I should play Ark, everyone had already played Ark, and so it just kind of ended up being something I never got around to. So, initially I was having a lot of fun. Like I was finally starting to like figure it out, which I felt like took a long time. Like we talked a little bit about how accessible Sonic was. This game is not that accessible at all. It took me a long time to figure out like how to do basic things.
And a lot of that's the console experience. On PC, it's a lot more straightforward, because Ark, when it came out, was like one of the first most accessible survival games. Before that, they were like really fucking technical and like annoying. Mm-hmm. And there's been one since then, but like I always kind of thought Ark was like the first like streamlined survival game. So it was funny that on console I was like, I've played this game, I don't even know how to light this fucking fire.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange because it reminded me a lot of just a survival game UI. So it wasn't like it was, it wasn't like it was just that. It was trying to navigate it with the controller. It just felt like there was too many steps to do anything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because they have like what the buttons do like at the top of the screen, and there's always like 8 different things you can do at once. And I'm glad they kind of give you a reminder, because without that, I don't know how you would remember it. It took literally the entire time of playing to figure out what I was supposed to be pressing to do certain things.
On that note, there's a fucking war crime in this game that I feel like somebody needs to be arrested for. To move left and right through certain tabs, you can use the touchpad to go left and the start button to go right. And I was like, who the fuck decided that? This has never been tried, and it will never be tried again. And you guys fucking had the balls to do this, and it's wrong. It should never have been fucking attempted.
I agree 100%.
It was crazy. I was like, is that seriously how
somebody should be punished for that?
It's insane. There's so many games out there that have fucking multiple menus you can go through, hitting L1 and R1, and then the ones below that you press R2 and L2. this game's just like, we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It's
Or you
crazy.
use the trigger to like craft one item instead of an entire stack of items, but then pressing the trigger like sometimes would just register like 3 times.
Oh, dude,
instead
yeah.
of the one time.
I would
was
craft like 3
why-
things sometimes, clicking it once.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the button should be the craft one and the trigger should be the craft all, because like it's inevitably going to trigger more than once.
Yeah. And I didn't have shit like that happen to me in Conan Exiles, so like it can be done. Like it's just crazy that they really should have thought about the console
some of that
experience.
was, I wonder if some of that was the lag you guys were having, because like I didn't play multiplayer.
I wasn't having any lag though.
Well, yeah, but like
Besides
and obviously, I don't know. I wasn't, I didn't have the same experience in that regard, but I didn't have multi-crafts accidentally happen either. So
I had it happen when Sarah was there and when Sarah wasn't there, but
Yeah.
I was hosting both times, so it could be a network thing for sure. It could be the way it's or connecting with the network or whatever, and registering as like 2 crafts or whatever. That could absolutely be like a network latency thing.
I did find though that
Yeah,
once I realized it was doing that, it was easy to just not, crank on the trigger as hard, like just a quick tap on the trigger and it wouldn't multi-craft after that. So
Right before we stopped playing, like an hour ago, I literally went and just like hit it real quick to test it, and I crafted 2 things. So I did that.
well,
I think what it is the threshold of when it registers that you click the trigger is really shallow. So you don't have to push it in far for it to know. So maybe if you hit it and for a millisecond, like double kind of like, even wiggle the trigger, it might register as 2 fucking presses. So maybe it should be like the registration of the button press should be deeper in the trigger pull.
yeah, I just was surprised hearing it is all.
sure.
I believe it probably is. I mean, I had some minor buggy stuff as well when it came to like the UI, so I just didn't have that one in particular. So
Yeah, there's definitely some across the board issues, but it is kind of interesting to discuss that you didn't experience that, because we both did, and the only difference there is we were playing together and you weren't.
yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut
That's
you off.
okay. But yeah, I just felt like I was really starting to get into the game. Like I figured out how to start a fire. You had built like a whole house and I had like a foundation down. I was like, I know what these buttons do. And then suddenly I was at a different part of the map, because like you built your base, like figured all the stuff out, and then you were like, oh, I'm gonna go explore. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm also exploring now.
Yeah, you're coming with me. Which is so funny because, like you said already, and we had discussed a little bit before the show, but you didn't play Ark, and I'm like, man, you kind of missed out on something, because Ark's like a solid ass survival game, even now. And then we're playing this, and I'm like, this don't let this be an impression for you. Like, it is for the show for sure, but like, let's play this on PC before you get a hard thought on this, because like, this experience is not ideal. This is not how you should be experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that like my takeaway from this experience was that I started installing Ark on PC to play it.
So you're ready to play this, but not on console.
Because I'm super excited. This got me really hyped to play it, and I'm hoping that like maybe your guys' experience is enough to convince you to play it with me on PC after this.
Before this month, Chevy was talking about wanting to play Ark before this was even announced. Cool. So
yeah, I almost bought a server. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be down to play Ark.
Yeah, I would really like to try this game out, because there's a lot of things that I really liked about it. I see like a lot of potential in it. There's a lot of crafting options. I tamed a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
My favorite thing to do.
You know what was disgusting? I heard that they made it easier already, but I also had everything set up to be easy as well. She tamed a dinosaur and like she fed him one thing and it was just tamed.
You want to know what's really disgusting though?
It's super quick now.
Because back in the day when Ark first came out, Chevy was next to a dinosaur for like 6 real hours taming it while I was building a base. And when we got it, it felt like we earned something. I was like, holy shit. Because I was like bringing him food every once in a while and he'd go grab some stuff. It was like this whole operation.
Yeah,
is that why you tried to take it away from me?
It used to be way too long.
What was that? Chevy?
Who?
Chevy.
Oh, yeah, it used to be way too long.
Yeah, way too long, and then they rebalanced it. Now you can just set it up in the server how you want. And yeah, the reason I did fucking try to kill your goddamn pet, I'm coming out now about it. I pretend like I didn't know it was him, is because it was too fucking easy for you. And I was like, this is unfair. It's like your notes say, it was cruel that you were able to do that to the struggle that me and Chevy went through. I don't care if it fucking got easier by now. I'm not going to witness that. I'm not going to see you do that.
Yeah, I fed him one berry, and then I named him after one of our dogs, and then I turned around and you were trying to murder him.
Yeah, it's funny. She named her dinosaur Quack, and she kept talking to it, calling him Quack. And I look back at real Quack, actual Quack, as I called him then. And he's like trying to sleep. But every time she's like, all right, Quack, let's go. He'd like open his eyes and look at her. And then he'd go back to sleep. And she'd be like, all right, Quack. And like, he'd like, look, like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, you're confusing actual Quack. And for anybody who
That's
doesn't,
why you tried to murder in-game Quack?
for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about here, because how would you? I was running around just shooting shit because I had the XP boosted. So I'm like, I'm just going to kill a bunch of animals and fucking level up quick. And I was doing that. And then there was just one dinosaur that wasn't just standing around. He's like running through the bushes. I'm like, what the fuck's he doing? So I start shooting him and he just runs from me. And I'm like, why is this dinosaur running from me like this? And I just keep fucking shooting him and shooting him. And then I see his name's red. And I'm like, am I being invaded? What the fuck is that? And then I see Sarah come running out of the trees like, where are you, Quack? And I'm like, oh fuck. And I like stop shooting. And she like stops. She's like, what happened? She's like, why is he bloody? She's like, are you fucking shooting Quack? And I was like, I did. I didn't mean to. I thought he was normal. I didn't know that was your fucking pet. She's like, are you fucking serious? And she's like, what did he do? There's arrows in him. Like all this shit. I'm like, and I just literally from running after the dinosaur just took a hard fucking left and ran to the woods. I'm like, I'm out of here. He's alive. I didn't kill him. I didn't commit.
True.
But it was awkward.
True. Quack survived.
It was awkward situation. But yeah, now I'm coming out and saying I was just killing your easily obtained pet out of jealousy. Anyway.
Yeah. So, man, I just to kind of touch back, I really enjoyed this game. I really want to play this game. I feel like I didn't get to play this game because of the tethering issue. And, you know, maybe if we had both jumped in together into this new experience and like we were playing together more rather than just like trying to play like in the same world, you know, probably would have been fine and not noticeable, though
we would still run into it though, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say, because the range is so small that it was like you didn't even explore that far off. Like I could see the beach that we were on from the base.
Yeah, it seemed like even like from where we're at, which is right on the water, I like ran up a hill. And like I could still see that location, and you would get teleported. And I was like, "Ooh, this is a little strict."
Yeah.
Like you're not even like the only reason you were out of view is because there's obstacles between us, but like it wasn't distance. Like I was like over there.
Yeah. So that was pretty frustrating for me, and I feel like kind of ruined the experience. And by the end of it, I kind of was just following you around. Until we were done playing.
Yeah. I checked out early. I was playing it. I was having fun. I'm like, I'm not doing this here. I'll do this on PC. So, yeah.
But yeah, the game overall, I really like the concept of, and I really like to explore it further on PC probably.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so. I feel like I didn't really have a good opportunity to dive too deeply into it. So,
but it looked promising enough for you to want to play it.
Yeah, I am very interested in playing it more. Really like the idea of being able to tame things on top of just, you know, a survival game experience.
Yeah, you can tame like gigantic dinosaurs, and like I was telling you before, there's like dinosaurs you can build shit on. Like the game's fucking wild. Like they went big with their imagination, and they didn't hold themselves back to like, well, we gotta keep it grounded. They're like, no, this is Turok, the survival game. Like it's like sci-fi fucking dinosaur shit, and it's all for fun, and that's the point. So
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so unless you have anything else to say, let's hop over to Chevy. What were your impressions of Ark? And did you play with anybody or play by yourself?
Played by myself. Did you real quick? You guys didn't play the original map, then I take it.
We did. Earlier this month, I played one of the new maps I've never even heard of, and I was like, I don't think I should be here yet. I got to familiarize myself with the game.
You brought up the robotic dinosaurs, so
Yeah, it was weird because when
know.
me and you played back in the day, I didn't see those fucking people. Like,
yeah, I've watched a couple streams recently on a couple of the other modes and maps, and yeah, it's a big ass game. Like, but anyways, that aside, my personal opinion or take on the game, I love Ark. It is probably like that. This and Conan are probably the two survival games I think are probably the most fun to play in my opinion.
yeah, I could agree with that.
They kind of offer outside of Minecraft. I think Minecraft's a better game for like building stuff, but that's just because it's literally block by block. But I think Conan and Ark give you the best like overall survival experience and allow you to do quite a lot.
They're also fun
I think
in like gamey ways. They're not just only survival games. They also have like cool gameplay mechanics.
Well, and I think that's the appeal for me.
Yeah.
I think when they start getting too serious, like that one we played where you end up on that island or whatever, and like you're dehydrating almost instantly, getting sunburned and shit, it's too much.
Which one? Oh, Deep something.
Yeah, that was not a fun experience for me. It has a lot of stuff I like, but like it really like is like leaning into the like you need to survive, not live here.
I like the loose survival elements. As somebody who really likes survival games, I think when you start getting too survival-y, I appreciate it. I think it's neat, but the fun is coming from the survival aspect alone. Whereas like in a game like Conan or Ark, Ark feels like a survival open world version of Turok almost, especially like when you start getting like more sci-fi stuff. So it feels like a first person shooter the way it plays, but it also has like pretty straightforward crafting, gathering, and you got to make sure you eat and drink, but that's about it, and temperature, but it's like it's basic stuff. And then Conan feels like a third person action RPG that you're playing with other people and you can build, which I fucking love.
And both games, Conan and Ark, have an ending technically. Like there's bosses you beat and you beat the game. Like and in the case of Ark, there's multiple maps with different bosses and stuff. So like the game can be a third person action game, or it could just be if you just want to base build and like take over the land, you can do that too. So and I really enjoy that about it. I think because it is a video game with survival elements, it allows people to kind of fall into a role they enjoy doing, and not just because they have to, but because the game is trying to make it fun for them to do. I do agree that the menu system on console is awful, completely awful. You can do it, it works, but holy crap, is it clunky. Outside of that, I think the game plays really well on console. I was very happy to see that. There was a little bit of a learning curve because I did not play this originally on console, so learning the holding triangle, for example, to just continuously gather, though intuitive, was not what I was doing initially. I was like mashing triangle at first. So
dude, at first, like I had no idea triangle was like the action button. So I was running around, I'm like, how do I fucking gather shit, dude? I'm like punching at everything, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know what to fucking do. And then eventually, I hit triangle for something else, and it activated something. I'm like, oh, and I like start running around. I am glad that you can just hold triangle while you run and you pick shit up. That feels good, but it's weird. It's triangle. That's a weird spot, button to be doing that.
Yeah, I instinctively wanted to hit square.
yeah, square would make sense for sure.
But I like you, though in a single player sense, I cranked up a couple of the values because I knew I wasn't going to be investing a lot of time into it, and I'd played it before, so I just wanted to kind of just get in and play. So I cranked up EXP values and taming times. Everything else I left the same. So I got to the point where I was able to craft like pistols and rifles and stuff when I played.
You got further than I did.
I played till about 7 in the morning. I had to tell myself to shut it off. I love Ark, so
Yeah, I had to stop
really
myself from playing it on console because I was like, I could sit here and keep playing this for sure, but I would rather play it in a better way.
I feel like you stopped me from playing.
I did. I literally told you, I'm like, I'm gonna be hopping off here soon, so you're gonna have to do your
I'm
shit.
done.
I just mean the
That means
tethering.
we're done.
Oh yeah, I got you. I was saying like in general though, I'm like, I'm out of here, dude. You can't play anymore. I got to get out of here. I'm done with this.
I built a really, really simple house, and then I put like a little deck out on the side of it so I could have my like smelting and my workbench and stuff like that. And I spent most of my time just trying to level up and see some of the stuff I had access to and some of the dinosaurs I was able to tame. I tamed 3. I had a turtle for carrying stuff. I had a pterodactyl, which I never managed to get a saddle on. Had the recipe, just the amount of metal was insane. And then I had a triceratops for defense and fighting and stuff. So
I still remember when we first played
So
the game.
cool.
I had Bubbles Coon, the fucking turtle. I felt horrible because it took us so long to tame him. And then at one point, like I got ambushed by like a T-Rex and a couple raptors out in the woods, and like I killed some of them, but I had to run, and he like stayed behind and fucking sacrificed himself for me. I was like, fucking rest in peace, Bubbles Coon. You were the real one.
that was during the endless war where the T-Rex was just destroying everything in sight.
Yeah, back when like it wouldn't leave. It was just always in that section because we got to a point where we were mining off the top of that volcano and we were flying our pterodactyls back and forth from base to the volcano. And every once in a while we'd fly past that area and there's always just a T-Rex killing everything in sight there.
Murdering everything.
Yeah, eventually we came back and murdered him, I think. Because I think that's when we got.
I don't think I was with you for that one.
Oh, yeah, I think because that was like back in the day. I like got my rifle and I'm like, I'm gonna kill this fucker and whatever and shot
And you tested it on a human subject.
Yep. Rest in peace to him too. Also, the Triceratops I used to take when I was getting resources for logging and stuff. Those are good times.
I also like that you can adjust their stats to fit more in line of what you're trying to do with them, though they obviously have their strengths and weaknesses. Like I was trying to give my turtle more speed and it barely went up when I'd put points into it, so it was not really meant for that, but that's all I really was trying to get out of it the one I played. So yeah, I mean, outside of that, I didn't run into any lag or anything. So I do wonder if that is a multiplayer thing or if maybe I just had a good play session. I don't know. I haven't played enough to have a solid take on that. But I could kind of assume it was going to have those kind of issues because even when it came out originally, it was like littered with that stuff. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, I had a great experience. I did get reminded very quickly that I could play that game. The same problem I have with Minecraft is once I start, shutting it off becomes a problem.
Yep.
So
this is the biggest reason why I hesitate to hop into survival games anymore is because I will put so much time into them. And I have other games I want to play. And once I start playing games like this or like Icarus or like, Conan or any of these kind of games, it's easy for me to like burn a whole fucking day playing them. Because the amount of tasks and the amount of things I want to accomplish and I can accomplish while also becoming stronger and better. It's just like the perfect fucking formula. Like I've talked about a million times on this channel, but like survival games are like some of my favorite games, which is nice because both of you like them as well. To a certain degree with you, like you're not like going to play DayZ, but you probably would if it didn't have the fucking zombies trying to murder you nonstop. Or the other players trying to sabotage you. But
it's the players, not the zombies. Yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, survival games, if they're done correct, are like the perfect formula of like the perfect game that I want to play typically.
Yeah. I just think as a side note, I want to throw out there when it comes to multiplayer, if you are listening to this and are curious to do that with a friend or whatnot, it was mentioned before, if you have an extra console sitting around, you can set up a dedicated server that way. There's also a shit ton of free servers available with different rule sets. There's PvP servers, PvE servers. There's plenty of them with 0 people in it too. So if you're worried about initially playing with people, obviously that if people see some activity, they might show up. But there are servers available to play on. Also, there are websites where you can pay for personal, dedicated, password-protected servers. It's like $15 a month if you really are interested in it. So,
Has more value than
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah. Not to give other people advertising, but I am. When it comes to multiplayer for this game on console, there actually are a lot of options outside of the tethering, by doing over network or even split screen, so or same screen or whatever it is. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I had fun.
I think just, jokes aside, there definitely is a way to play this game multiplayer. I just think, kind of to touch on the accessibility again, it's going to be more than just like hop in and play with your friends. But it's definitely, it's
PC game.
doable
Yeah,
if console is where you have to play the game and you want to play with your friends, like you certainly can.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely has those old school PC like multiplayer things.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you had to jump through hoops to do it. I mean, I remember even when we set up a server, I had to like do all the networking stuff. So
Yeah, hopefully it'll be easier now to do that.
I would just pay someone at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't miss fucking around with server stuff anymore. All right, so everybody got their impressions with Ark. Let's jump into recommendations. I'm going to hard recommend this to anybody who likes survival games. If you haven't played this somehow, like Sarah, you might have skipped it somehow, but you do like survival games, I would definitely recommend it to you. It's, I think, one of the best ones. It's got its flaws and it's kind of dorky in a lot of ways, but like it's undeniable if you like survival games that this game offers a lot of things that you're going to really enjoy. If you like dinosaurs, this is a really good dinosaur game. Like there's a lot more to do in it, but like there's a shitload of dinosaurs and other crazy things to fight in the game. So if you're looking for more like, dinosaur games, I would recommend it to you. The only reason I bring that up too is the amount of people like always talking about Dino Crisis and shit. People really want to interact with dinosaurs in games apparently. Let's see. If you like co-op games, where you can either work together or work against people. This is a survival game that came out, not too far after DayZ, so it does have that, like, if you hop on a server, or kind of like Rust, if you're a fan of Rust, the chaos of Rust, it can be that game. If you hop on a random server, you can just go kill people and take their stuff, and vice versa. Have to protect your base. Make turrets to protect your base. Get dinosaurs, all sorts of crazy shit. If you're looking for that experience, but also if you're looking to work with people, whether against other people or just cooperatively, it's a great game for that. A lot of different things.
It has a built-in clan system too. So.
Yeah, where people can have access to certain things. So it's built for a lot of this stuff. That's one of the things I love about Ark is just how much content it has and how much it is built for different ways you want to play this game. So yeah, I would recommend it for that. I think I could loosely recommend this to most people under the caveat that, they know they can play by themselves with friends only or on a server with random people. If you don't know much about it, you just hop into it and you get killed by some random guy online. You're like, I don't know if I can play this. This game can be what you want it to be. So I loosely would recommend it to a lot of people, especially if you're even curious about survival games. I think it's a really good balance of survival and fun. It's not too hard on the survival part. Nothing's really coming to mind, although I feel like I should recommend it to more people. So do you guys have anything else to add to that?
I only have a disclaimer, really, which is without modifiers, the game is a grind. So you have to be okay with that. So if you don't like the idea that you're going to be spending a lot of time in the game, might not be your cup of tea unless you find a server that has modifiers to speed it up. But
or make your own,
which you can do, or make your own, yeah. But it is you are playing it in the vanilla sense. It's a live-in game for sure.
For sure. Also, if you're somebody who enjoyed Turok back in the day, and you're like, they don't make a new Turok, just play this. It's the closest thing you're gonna get. And by now, it's a better game because it's a more modern game. So, but you can run around, shoot dinosaurs and other things with bows, spears, and later, machine guns and shit. So, yeah. Anything you want to add?
I think I would just double down on the idea that if you liked Conan Exiles or Rust, if those games are your style, then Ark is probably your style.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Who graded first last time? Was that Sarah? I don't remember. So
I don't remember.
I'll just grade first. Although I did impressions first, but fuck it, it's my show. I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm gonna give it. I don't want to give it this, but I feel like I have to. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I would give it a higher grade on PC, I think, but I have to go lower than like an A minus or something like that, just because there was obvious issues, and I didn't run into your issues, but the issues I ran into, I feel like could be improved. I was overall impressed with how playable this was on console and how good it looked and all that stuff, but just the little things here and there that made it feel like I didn't want to experience it here. Makes me drop it down to a B plus. It's still pretty high, just because I do like Ark quite a bit, but the console experience, though not like Ghostrunner to me, could be improved. Definitely has room to be improved, and but yeah, it has plenty of options to make servers, dedicated servers, all that kind of stuff. So the issues we run into are not necessarily the issues that you'll run into if you do different things. So, but yeah, just playing this on console just made me think I wanted to play it in general. So definitely a positive experience outside of the couple things I'm like, they could have done that better. So yeah, B plus. Let's go with Chevy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a. I've already said it a bunch of times, so I think it's a great game. I think it has a couple hiccups on console, but I think overall the game is completely playable. So if you can get through those hiccups, it'd be real easy to invest a crap ton of time on regardless of the version you play. So
especially with the amount of stuff that this gave us on console through PlayStation Plus. You have like all the
package
maps.
of a game. Yeah,
so it's a really good.
So I'm
package.
gonna give it an A minus. Actually, it's a full game. It's got a lot of content. It's got some speed bumps, but I think they are overshadowed by the game itself. So.
Yeah, I wanted to give it the A minus, but just our experience was just a little not as good.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Sarah.
I'm gonna give it a B minus. I don't have another experience to compare it to. Part of me wants to grade it higher because, I'm pretty certain that I'm going to really like this game on PC. But, if I didn't have that option just based on this game, this experience, I don't know that I would go back to it again. There is a lot of content there, but as someone who's never played Ark before, I found it kind of overwhelming. Like being in the menu with all the options, you kind of just invited me into your game, so that made it easy. But without that, I'm a hero, dude. I'm not sure like what's going on, like what all this stuff means, like the menus are extremely difficult to navigate. It took me a long time to figure out what was going on, what the buttons all do. Circle opens your menu. It was super weird. It took me that was the hardest thing. Like, I don't know how many times I was like, how do I open my inventory again? Without you guys telling me your experience and having the option to play it with you guys on PC potentially, I don't know that I would play this game again. I didn't like this experience, so.
But made you want to play the PC one. But B minus, you said B minus, right?
Yeah.
That's still good. So, yeah. No, it's good. I'm glad we all graded it differently this time, because so far the month's just been, we're all just like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, and then, it makes sense with Chevy because he didn't run into some of the issues we ran into. So, anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Ark Survival Evolved. Have you played it in the past? Have you played it now? Have you played it on PC? Have you played it on console? What do you think of the console experience? Is there anything that can remedy some of the things we talked about when it comes to the console experience? How much hours have you sunk into this game if you have played it? I know a lot of people who still play quite a bit. And yeah, what's a survival game that's not Ark that's one of your favorites? We kind of mentioned a couple here. I would say easily Conan, I think is one of my favorites. Ark's one of my favorites. Icarus is a new favorite for sure. Valheim is a great survival game, but it's more like an action RPG, this multiplayer. And then of course Daisy. I love Daisy. But yeah, let me know in the comments what survival games you have liked in the past or you're playing now. Let me know the download ones I don't know about yet, and not Green Hell. And yeah, let us know what you think about in the comments below when it comes to Ark Survival Evolved. All right, this episode's running pretty long because we have 4 games to talk about, but good conversation so far. So let's end it with Ghost of Tsushima Legends. If you didn't get a chance to play Ghost of Tsushima Legends, this is the multiplayer free add-on that came out to Ghost of Tsushima, in which you can play 2 to 4 player co-op on, and now I guess versus. I did not try the Rivals mode, so that kind of sucks. I didn't do that. But anyway, it is a third-person stealth action game where you play as ninjas and samurais. You can go through a story mode where you have these 3-part levels where you and whoever you're playing with go through, complete basic objectives, and fight and kill exceedingly more and more challenging enemies as you raise the level and get better rewards and level up. There is a survival mode, which is your basic horde mode in any game. You survive as long as you can. There is a end point though. There's 4 difficulties on that now. There used to be 3. Now there's a platinum difficulty, which I thought was interesting. They have added Rivals mode. I don't know what that mode is. I did not play it, but apparently it is some kind of versus mode, which I think is really interesting. It also has a raid, a 3-part raid that is supposed to test essentially your gear and also your cooperation as you play with people and navigate some pretty intricate mechanics that you would get in a raid. It has daily and weekly stuff and a gear score similar to games like The Division and everything else under the sun. Yeah, a lot of crafting. They, as I found out recently, have added more perks to the game, more cosmetics to the game. Like I said, the Rivals mode, 2 new survival maps, cursed weapons that you can lift the curse and then use for different reasons, and then a new way to level your 110 gear up to 120 in a way that feels organic, that you do it as you play the game already. So that's a rundown of what Legends is, and again, I'm going to reiterate, this is Legends we're reviewing, not Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, let's start with Sarah on your impressions of Legends.
I have played Legends before with you guys.
We played a lot of it.
Yeah, I think the raid run we did is on the channel somewhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, we did the first Tale of EO. It's on the channel if you're interested in seeing us completing that part of the raid.
So I really like Legends, and I kind of knew that coming into it. I was kind of thinking while you were talking, like, that we didn't get to try the Rivals mode,
but we will.
Right. But what's interesting about that is I feel like we didn't try the Rivals mode because we were having so much fun doing things that we have done before, like revisiting the game after so long. We didn't do any of the new content because we were enjoying doing the same content so much. So,
yeah, we're trying to reorient ourselves with the game and trying to relearn our builds and stuff like that. And then I was just like, oh yeah, this game's like fucking dope.
Never once was I like, oh, we're doing this again.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I was like, this game is fucking awesome. I love this.
I loved it. I really like the new things that they've added. The additional rows of perks. There was
add more.
Yeah. I have almost exclusively played the Ronin with a little bit of Assassin, and I saw that they kind of like peppered in some more like support type traits into some of the other classes, which, for me is what I enjoy doing in a game like this. So it almost incentivizes me to go back and level some of the other classes as well. I really also like the stealth in this game, so being able to build like the assassin, say, in like more of a support orientation is really intriguing for me. The other thing you mentioned, cursed weapons, but there's cursed everything, like all of the items. There's cursed ones you can get, and they're all different. So I think that adds an interesting gameplay element. The one that I experienced was that having to kill like 5 animals or something, but then also the animals do lethal damage until you remove the curse. So just kind of increases like the variety in what you can do in the game. And same with I think it's called Mastery, the thing that lets you take your items from 110 to 120. There's like 5 levels of it, and each one adds 2 points to the item, which, it's really basic stuff. Like one of mine was to dismantle 5 moon katanas or whatever, but
yeah, 5 smoke bombs I had to dismantle.
Yeah, or
while that's equipped,
doing 2 story missions while the item's equipped, or just like really basic things. But it kind of incentivizes you to like, if like, let's say, like, I know when we played a lot before, we did a lot of the survival mode. So if you're the kind of person who does like only survival mode, suddenly you have a reason to do the story missions again, or do them at all. So I thought that was really cool. I just kind of, I really like Ghost of Tsushima in general. And the multiplayer, I think, is just done so well. And I'm so happy that they're still supporting it. I thought the raid was super fun. I don't know. I feel like anybody who is interested in this game probably already had this. So I'd be interested to see like how many people are trying it out for the first time. But
that'd be interesting.
I just really, really enjoy this. I like that there's, a lot of times in the multiplayer in games like this, there's no support element. I kind of end up just like playing a support, but not really like in the style that I like to, like having played more like MMOs and RPGs and stuff. But I really, really like the Ronin in this game. And it lets me do the support stuff that I like and still feel like a badass ninja doing stealth. So, I really appreciated that. I feel like I would just gush about this game for a really long time. There's a lot of things I really like about it and not a lot of things that I don't. So
I can't think of anything I dislike about it.
Same.
Yeah.
Like not off the top of my head.
The thing I dislike about it is it doesn't have more. Yeah. I just want more of this.
Yeah.
That's it.
I dislike that we haven't done more of it. Like I would love to be able to experience like the other chapters of the raid. I now want to do like platinum difficulty survival mode because I really loved doing survival mode with everybody. So
the reason we did so much survival mode, because it's not even my favorite. I think the story stuff is like the best content in the game outside of the raid. But you can play with 4 people in survival mode. So when we had more people on and we all want to play with each other, we're like, well, we got to do survival, which is fun because it's just straight up combat, which the combat in this game is just great. And the stealth is like really good, especially in a multiplayer setting. It's crazy that they can nail better stealth than most single player games that do stealth. But yeah, it's just because you can only play with one other person in the story mode. So, but it's a lot of fun doing the survival. And we didn't even play the 2 new survival maps because we're too busy just re-experiencing all the stuff we loved about Legends when it first came out. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, I'll jump in next. I'll try and be brief about this. I don't want to just gush because I could do that. Just for reference, just so people who maybe are new here know, Sucker Punch released Ghost of Tsushima. I think it's their best game they've ever made. I've always knew they had talent. This game was for me. I was like, fuck yeah, dude! Like this is the game I was waiting for. It's a fantastic game. It was my game of the year when it came out that year. It's very good. When Legends came out, it never got leaked. They never announced they're doing Legends. They just released it. And I was like, holy shit, this is like so much content that I'm so excited about, and no one asked for it, and they didn't charge a fucking cent for it. It's crazy that happened. And at the time that happened, I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, but then I put more time into Legends than I had put into the story. I actually did most of the content in Legends outside of the raid before I finished Ghost of Tsushima, because I was just so into that content. So that's just kind of like where I'm coming from when it comes to revisiting this, essentially, because I have played quite a bit of it. As of right now, my gear score I think is 111, because I've just started dabbling in the cursed stuff and the mastery, and I will hit 120 for sure. Like I now that there's stuff to do, I'm like, fuck yeah. So yeah, the content they've released with Legends is way more than not just because like we didn't expect it to come out, but it's just way more content than even if they did announce this, I'd expect. Now coming back to it and playing it, I'm coming back playing that content that's a lot of fun, but they've added more stuff that they didn't like say they're going to release, and they didn't need to do. And I'm just like, holy shit, like they're really just trying to like make me love them and the game they've made even more, and it's fucking crazy. They added a fourth row of perks on every class, which is really cool. For anybody wondering, I play Assassin. That's my main. And I have that all pretty much maxed out. I have all the perks unlocked, stuff like that. And I'm level 20 with everybody else. So I've played them all a little bit, but Assassin's my bread and butter. I fucking love Assassin. But yeah, so they added a fourth row, add a fifth row, add a sixth row. Just keep adding stuff. I love it. And then they added a third like main ability for every class. And the two things I've gathered from what they've done with this, they're all different on all the classes, which is awesome, and adds new ways to play these classes, which is awesome. But the two things I've noticed across the board they did is they made every class have something that adds to survivability, which I think is really cool, because if you played the raid, it's pretty tough. You can do it, but it's pretty tough, and I loved that. I loved having to coordinate with you guys and beat it. It was fucking a lot of fun. I would love to finish it. But after actually having done some of the raid, I looked at what they added with the perks. I'm like, oh, this is an answer to the raid. Like they're adding more survivability stuff. Everyone essentially has a heal now in some way or another, or a way to survive better, which is cool. And then everybody got a third perk that can add an extra legendary. So standard wise, you can only have one legendary equipped on your class. And then there is a perk that already existed with every class where you can have a second legendary equipped. And now they've added a third one in the fourth row for every class. So every class can potentially have 3 legendaries. And I'm actually dabbling with that right now. It's really interesting to have 3 legendaries on me. I can see that being very powerful if you have the right legendaries. Otherwise, it's hard for me to want to get rid of some of my perks. Yeah, so they added a lot of cool stuff, even with just adding an extra row of perks. Like, it's weird how it's not a lot, but it's a lot. They had a new cosmetics, which is awesome, because I was starting to run out on certain areas of cosmetics and like emotes and stuff. So to see they added new stuff is just exciting, because I want to get more stuff and look cooler and cooler. I've already unlocked a couple things. My guy kind of looks like the Yeti. You guys are going to see him in the gameplay. I love the way he looks. He looked dope before. He looks dope now. So great style in the game. Yeah, and then like basically, I'm gushing about this game, but like the game's beautiful. I'm playing on PS5. I didn't play it much on PS5 after the update came out. I've barely played Iki Island. I need to return to it. So playing Legends now on my PS5 with the PS5 update is a fucking pleasure. The game is gorgeous looking. It runs smooth as shit, and it controls great. I had to remember how to play the game, but once I got it down, muscle memory kicked in, and I was really enjoying myself. So yeah, it's really nice to play on the PS5. That's how we all played it. I'm just gonna say that again so people know. And
we have PS5s.
Yeah, I'm just humble bragging, dude. We all got PS5s. No, it's important, because maybe somebody played on PS4 and they didn't have the same experience.
Sure.
Yeah, so it plays great. It looks great. I mean, it's samurai ninja stuff, so we're all fans of that. Not to speak for everybody, but I know that. So aesthetically, everything's really cool looking. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to play, especially because it allows just straight up combat that can be challenging depending on what difficulty you're playing on, but also really good stealth. I mean, I love just flying through and killing people without getting seen. Like just a bunch of people just boom, 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 wrecking people. It feels great. I love it. And they don't take it from you like Ghostrunner. Yeah, so I haven't played Rivals, which kind of sucks because it's like a new chunk of content, and I'm gonna play it for sure. I I'm not done playing this game. But yeah, like I said, we're just so busy getting back into the game that, and we played it for hours.
Yeah.
We just went through the story again on the hardest difficulty, and we're getting everything down, playing with the new perks, all that kind of stuff. Check out the curse system, which is really interesting. I'll touch on that in a sec. So I want to try out Rivals. I want to try out the new survival maps. That was a hesitation because I would like to do that with like Chevy and maybe Chris or somebody else. We know a bunch of people who would play this, so it'd be more fun if it was people we know. Josh exists. Yeah, so we're definitely going to do that. I would also like to do the raid. I'd like to do some of the daily and weekly stuff because you get pretty substantial rewards. And then, yeah, they added a curse system. You already kind of touched on it a bit, but you essentially get these items that you have to lift the curse by completing objectives on them. One of mine was using, while this is equipped, which is a bow, get 10 kills from range. I was like, oh, okay. And so, but you have to do it on the hardest difficulty, which at our gear score, that's not a big deal. But you have to do it there. Otherwise, it doesn't count. It's just letting you guys know. And yeah, so I went around, shot a bunch of people, getting those headshots. And it's interesting because you have that objective, but there's also a negative to it. So every time you shoot with the bow, you get blinded. So you get that headshot, and if they don't die, you can't see for like a good 5-10 seconds. So the enemy's just running at you. So it was kind of an interesting challenge. It made it feel like a game within a game. And then when I lifted that, I was able to use, I forgot what it's called, but I was able to use the item I got from lifting the curse on that item to skip an objective on my mastery on my weapon that I was trying to level up. Yeah. So you either complete the objective for your mastery as well, outside of not just the curse stuff, but the mastery stuff also has objectives to do. Or you lift the curse on the weapons or items. I should say items, not weapons. And you can use that to kind of bypass one of your objectives for the items you're trying to level up, which I think is a cool system because it gives you two options for progress outside of just playing the game. So really smart system, really engaging system, and stuff that's challenging but not too challenging. It's just enough to keep you busy. So I really like the way they've done it. And I also hate them for it because now I just want to play this. And I have other games I'm playing where I'm like, Ghost of Tsushima is a pretty fucking good game. Like, kind of want to go back and play it. And I will. I really want to keep playing Legends. We just need to play Legends in Ark, I guess.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, as I'm sure you can tell, I really enjoyed my time playing this again. I'm gonna keep playing it. I love what they did with Legends. I love Ghost of Tsushima in general, but we're not reviewing that. And yeah, I can't wait to keep playing more of it. Chevy?
Yeah. I don't really have a lot to say just because I'm just gonna be repeating stuff. So I'm just gonna to essentially TLDR is I really like this game. It was also my game of the year it came out. Played a lot of Legends with you guys. I think when I hopped in, my item level was like 106 or something like that. I only did a couple missions just to kind of get a feel for it to talk about it this month. It still plays and looks great. It's definitely one of the best PS4 era games, in my opinion. It is an awesome experience. I am glad they have added to Legends. I do wish they would add more, and not just survival stuff, because I think survival modes are generally kind of lazy.
Yeah, it's like
they
keep
can be
you busy
fun
mode, but that's it.
Yeah. I like the story mode like a lot, and I really wish they'd come up with a new story to tell and have a bunch of chapters and stuff and release those every once in a while.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the channel multiple times, but like I've kind of proposed the idea that like it'd be really cool if they just released like a second story, same length as the first one. It'd be a lot of work, but it'd be worth it. Charge me, I'll buy it. Fucking easy. I'll fucking buy it 100%.
Yeah.
And then a new raid. Just one new raid, but like 3 Tales of EO chapter style things, and like I'd be in heaven, dude. Like charge $20-$30, $40 I'll buy it for $40.
Same.
Easy. If they added like a whole new chunk of fucking story.
I feel outside of the writing and the voice acting, it'd be fairly simple for them to do anyways, because a lot of it's just going to be the reused assets.
Yeah.
So
or just reskinned stuff. Yeah,
which isn't a big deal. Like, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I played it probably the least out of the games this month, mostly because I already kind of knew how I was going to feel about it. I have one complaint. It has nothing to do with the game itself, but the way Sony has handled PlayStation Plus lately. Why didn't you just release the whole game? I
Yeah,
think it's
that would've
weird
been nice.
giving out these like bite-sized bits of games. Um, in this month, I will say at least it was an extra game. It didn't take the slot of a game. But yeah, it's a weird trend that hopefully they're not just going to keep doing because I don't want to keep getting demos with my PlayStation Plus membership. So
It's
other
interesting
than
too
that,
because
it's a great time.
yeah, it's interesting too because this was free if you had the game already. So they gave you a free add-on component to Ghost of Tsushima, and it is its own thing, 100%. But it's just an interesting thing that they only gave that. Like, it would have been amazing if they gave Ghost of Tsushima. I don't blame them for not giving it away because I'm sure it still sells to a certain extent. But like, people would have been really stoked about that. And you know, it's
It just
probably
blows me away
sold.
because you can get God of War.
Yeah,
So, if you
yeah,
have
for
PS5.
sure. And whatever Sucker Punch is working on next, I'm sure it would help drive hype, but maybe they're waiting on that until they get an announcement of whatever they're working on next, which also makes sense. But yeah, it's interesting that but like you said, it's the bonus, so it's not the main course, but it's essentially just giving access to people that I guess didn't pick up Ghost of Tsushima or forgot that an add-on came out for it.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of wonder, like, why? Like, why did they give it out at all? If it's just an extra, why not just wait until you have a reason to give out the whole game? Like, if or when, like, you know, they're building hype for the new game, or, you know, if maybe when they announce the new Legends content they're working on.
Or Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Yeah, or something like that. Like, why not just release the full game then? Like, why even bother to give this to people?
Yeah, I feel like it's just to breathe some life into it.
Yeah.
Well, and the
and
new
then
content that came out,
hopefully
they're probably trying
sell
to
some more
boost the numbers.
copies of Ghosts with it.
Oh, I was saying with the new content that came out recently, they're probably just trying to boost the numbers, get more people playing it, like you said.
For sure.
So
Yeah. Which, you know, is fine and all. I think it's weird because it's like the third time they've given us part of the game recently.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting.
So I kind of don't like it. None of it's been crazy, but it's not a good trend is all. So
But it is regardless of if you like it or not, it is a trend. Like, it's something that we're noticing. Like, it's happened pretty frequently. We got Godfall Champion or Challenger Edition, and then Tiny Tina's Attack on Dungeon, where the dragon thing, and then this now. So it's weird.
It's almost
it is weird.
like that's like 3 months in a row they've done something like this, because Godfall was December.
Yeah, this is just the only
and
one
now
they've done it
February,
in a
March.
good way.
It's hard for me to get too crazy about it. I understand where people are coming from, 100%. But most of the time, a lot of the games, at least one or two of the games we get for PlayStation Plus, I already own. So a lot of times, I'm just stoked to be able to talk about it for the channel, which, you know, is a personal thing for me. But I always love the games I haven't played. That's always fun to do. But so when we get stuff like this, and people are like, "Wow, they're only giving us part of this," I'm like, I already had it. Like, so. It doesn't affect me too much, but I do understand that if you're somebody who doesn't have this, you would have definitely preferred to have the whole thing. I get that 100%. If they give you any of it, you know, just give me the whole thing. I get that, but it doesn't affect me, so I don't have a strong stance on it. But it is an interesting trend. I'll say that 100%. It's something that's happening regularly now. So yeah.
I mean, that's really all I was trying to bring up. It's a concern I'm having because it's border testing essentially. So they're trying to see what they can get away with. So
yeah, it's an interesting way to put that, because that could definitely be what they're doing. Also, with the advent of a possible new PlayStation Plus coming soon, makes me wonder if it's connected to that in any way as well. Maybe you'll get partial games and then full games with the higher thing.
Well, we'll see when they announce it. I don't want to
Yeah.
get too speculative on that one.
Yeah, me neither. I'm excited to find out what they're doing with it, but
Yeah.
all the speculation I see, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Find out when we find out.
But to bring it back to the topic, I love the game. So, and if you haven't played it, you should. It is probably one of the, like I said, one of the best like console experiences on, especially specifically PlayStation, obviously, that I think you can have. So.
Yeah, it's definitely one like the high, like God of War, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima are like the legendary games of the PS4 era, and they all translate very well to PS5 because they're just like so ahead of their time. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's jump into recommendations then. My bias wants to loosely recommend it to everybody, but I know it's not for everybody. If you like cooperative games where you work together, I would recommend to you. If you like Samurai Ninja stuff at all, I would recommend it to you. If you like Ghost of Tsushima single player and you didn't play the multiplayer for some reason, I would recommend it to you. Check it out. You can do these missions on your own. It's a little harder, but you can do them. I do them. Yeah. I mean, survival's a little tricky, but like the story missions, you can go through them. The raid will be tricky as well. You gotta make some friends for that. But yeah, I'd recommend it to you. You should have checked it out and you didn't, so do it. Let's see. If you like MMOs, I would recommend it to you just because you are getting that class-based cooperative play, but also it has like a legit raid that's like really like you gotta talk, you gotta stop and figure shit out, and it reminded me of
Just
like a
say
raid in
games of
MMO.
service instead of MMO, but yeah,
Yeah.
they all do that now.
Yeah, but not a lot of them, not to this degree though. Like I think the raid was done really well for what it is.
I mean, Destiny does it though. So.
Yeah, well, I heard that Destiny dropped off though. I haven't really played any of like the more modern stuff. But back when we played it, it was like really good for sure. But I heard it's not as good anymore. I don't know. I don't play Destiny enough. That's another game I could probably get back into maybe. I don't know. But yeah, games as a service like Destiny or MMOs, I would say if you're into any of those, and you're open to action combat and stealth combat, I would definitely recommend this because you're going to get a similar vibe from it. Obviously not with the scale of the amount of people you can have, but 4 people going through a situation where you got to like cooperate and figure things out and work together and have someone heal you and all that kind of stuff, depend on each other. You don't get that everywhere. So this game definitely offers that. If you like games where there is a gear score, new equipment, ways to upgrade it, ways to change attributes of your gear that you've got, Diablo style, definitely play this. It's got that going on. If you like horde mode, survival modes, you like to see how far you can get and work together and be on the edge of your seat the whole time, trying to make sure when people go down, you get them back up, stuff like that. Play this. Yeah, if you like AAA games, it's a AAA game. It's really well made. I'll let you guys throw some recommendations out there.
I don't really have anything to add, to be honest.
Yeah, part of me kind of thinks that if you're gonna like this game, you've already tried it out.
But if you have it and you're curious,
yeah,
get it on PlayStation Plus. Check it out.
One thing I really appreciate, so if you like this too, I would recommend it, but I really like being able to take this concept of like what is the game itself and then kind of customize it further with the classes and then the gear and, like you said, the legendary items and all of that stuff. The classes really feel like you can kind of tailor it to how you want to be a part of the group. For
sure. And you can play it very specific ways. Like when I'm playing the assassin and you're playing the Ronin, I'm typically running up and like taking out dudes before we have to fight them, essentially. And if we have to fight them, we fight them. But like, and not to say you're not taking people out too, but like the assassin's like tailored to eliminate people quickly. And with the Ronin, you're able to, provide heals and get people back up and provide that kind of support that is definitely needed in the raid for sure, but it's definitely helpful when you're playing the harder difficulties as well, and in survival mode because that gets hectic and people got to split up and shit. So every class has its thing, and even I don't remember the samurai, whatever he's called. Is he just samurai?
I think so.
The class,
I'm pretty sure.
He always seemed like he was good at like doing damage, but with the new perks, it seems like they're really trying to push him to be like much better at that than other people, which I'm glad, because he always kind of felt like there's always a class in games where you're like, I don't know what to play. Well, I'll just play that guy. He's kind of a good all-around kind of character. He always felt like that to me. But then I was looking at his new perks. I'm like, okay, they're really focusing in on this guy as like a fucking, not a tank, but like a dude who's going to be like in there hitting people, taking hits, survivable. He's got a thing where if he parries, perfect parry, you get 50 health every time you perfect parry. So if you're just in there fighting dudes and perfect parrying, you're just going to heal yourself. That's survivability, and it's cool that they've kind of thought about what are these classes, how can we expand on them more.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just started talking about Tsushima again. I wasn't even talking about recommendations anymore.
I have a whole episode, I feel like, talking about.
And this is a long one for sure, but I knew all these games we'd have a lot to talk about. So with that, any more recommendations so we can jump into grades? Sarah, grade it.
A.
Damn.
I'm going to give it an A.
Just going to pop it off
Just
like
gonna
that,
go.
dude?
Yep.
A.
Well, like you said, I don't have any complaints, really, except that I wish that there was more stuff to do. And I haven't even, with all the new stuff, I haven't even done all the stuff. So I wish they would stop releasing games so that I could just play this, please.
True.
Yeah.
Just
Good
let
luck
me
with
play
that
this.
All right. Well, let's jump into Chevy's grade.
For all the same reasons as Sarah, except for I'm gonna go A minus. Oh,
That's fair.
I do think it has a little more room to grow, and I do think there are some things they could do to make the experience just a little bit better. Not that I know them off the top of my head, but I do feel like there's room for improvement. But it's a fantastic experience for sure. So
Yeah. I agree with there's room to grow for sure. The foundation they've made is fantastic.
yeah,
My problem is what they've done to just add free content is above and beyond 99% of other devs out there, and it's crazy like how like fun this is. It rivals, in my opinion, other games as a service games like, you know, The Division, other, you know, Destiny, stuff like that. It rivals them, and it's less content. It'd be even better if it was a full game. So I have to also go with an A, just because, yeah, I want to improve to that A plus for sure. It could be an A plus easily. I wanted to almost give it an A plus because I love it so much.
Yeah.
But it's not complete. But what it is, just added content, is insane, and it's like a full fledged game that I would love to see them either expand on this, or just create a Legends standalone game. I'd be fine either way. Just more of this while also still getting Ghost of Tsushima. I'd be very happy with that. So yeah, a really strong A. It's a fantastic game, and an example of the pinnacle of what some devs can do to give back to the people who love the stuff they've made. I mean, like, it's a perfect fucking exchange. People love the game. They love you, love the game. They made something great, and we love it. So it's love to see it. So yeah, great add-on. All right, so we went really long. Any last words on anything? Or we can get the fuck out of here and play something.
I think I'm just gonna repeat what Sarah said a moment ago. If people could just like chill on game releases for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to play Elden Ring, and I have like 5 games I missed while playing that. So
Yeah. Shout out to Ghostwire Tokyo. Is dope as fuck. So check that out. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Did you play it? Did you not play it? If you didn't play it, why didn't you play it? If you did play it, did you like it? Did you not like it? And what class are you playing? What is your favorite thing to do in the game? Mine's story and raid. Survival's fun. I need to play Rivals. Yeah, what would you like to see them add to Legends? If you think they need to add anything at all. If you didn't like it, but there's something you wish they would have put in it, let me know. Let's be constructive about the criticism. And yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to all the games we talked about. But that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club for March. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on our streams and our socials, linked down below. And yeah, we have a Discord linked down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you're brand new, subscribe. Just subscribe. We'll talk to you again. It'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'd like to thank Sarah for joining me for this Plus Club, and Chevy. It's always a pleasure having these conversations with you guys. And until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.